In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can live for free or for very little and change your financial future. So, what I'm talking about here is house hacking. You might have heard of the term, but you might not know what the hell it is. Well, I'm going to break down for you how you can find a house hack, and then I'm going to break down the numbers on the house hack I did. So, what is house hacking? House hacking is finding a multi-unit property, living in one unit and renting out the others. So you're typically going to pay very little each month to live there, or if you got enough units, got a good enough deal, you can live for free or make money. So the first thing is going to be decide. You got to decide with enough conviction that you are going to find a house hack. And that's the fucking first step, and it's very fucking simple. How are you going to find it? Look! I mean, this shit is so simple. Start fucking looking. You can jump on Zillow, put the zip code or the city you're in, filter for sale, go to multifamily, and take a look around, or just hire a realtor. Say, hey, I'm looking for a multi-unit property I can house hack. Send me a list of all the multifamily properties and start going to look at them. They'll show you them and go from there. Or you can, if you're in an area, you can find wholesalers. That's what I do. I wholesale properties, so these people will get off-market properties under contract with the owner and then assign the property. Now, the thing with wholesalers is they're looking for cash buyers typically, so if you're looking to use an FHA loan when you buy it, then you might have to use private money or hard money if you go with them, unless they're willing to wait longer. So wholesalers, agents, / MLS. MLS is like listings. All right, so once you start looking, step 3 is are you looking for distressed or turnkey? The difference here is, if you're buying a distressed property, it's typically going to have more equity, so you're going to get it at a cheaper price, and you're going to increase the value by renovating it and stuff like that. If you're buying it turnkey, it might be all right, but you're going to pay a little more, so your mortgage payment is going to be higher. So it's really all about the numbers when you're house hacking. Essentially, if you're buying a single-family residence for yourself and you're living in the one unit, you're going to have a mortgage anyway. So it might not hurt if you have a couple other units and you're paying a little bit each month. Not a big deal. But if you're buying distressed, you could buy it cash or hard money or a private money lender. And then you can refinance out at the end. I'll break down that at the end, how I refinanced out of my property. So I might even cut in some clips of the property I bought. It was a duplex, and we'll break down what that looked like. Or you could buy it turnkey, like I said, already renovated. It might already have tenants in there, but if you want to live in it, you got to kick them out. So, financing. I already talked about it some. But if you're buying turnkey and you're going to live in there, you can get an FHA loan. It's like 3.5% down last I checked. So that's all you got to put down. But the thing with the FHA loan is you got to live in there for at least a year typically. So check with your local authorities. I'm not going to say that. I'm not giving legal advice here. Or if you're buying a distressed property, you can still get the FHA loan, but you can get what's called a 203K loan. And that's going to have the repair money for that distressed property built into the loan. Look into that if you're looking for a distressed property. All right. So say you bought a distressed property like I did. Once you repair it, you're going to rent it, obviously. You can move in one unit and then rent out the other. And then once you get the tenant in there, you're going to move to step 6, is refinance. So how does a refinance work? I'll break down the numbers on mine. I'm actually going to erase this whole set. Take a little screenshot or pause the vid if you still want this. All right. Last chance. Alright. So we're talking about refinancing. I'm just going to start by breaking down this whole deal I did, and you'll understand why in a second. So a refinance. So once you repair, you're going to go to a bank and say, hey, I just renovated this property. I'd like to refinance. They'll say, okay, they're typically going to give you 70 to 80% loan to value. What the fuck does that mean? Say the property's worth $100,000. I hope it's not if that's what you bought. It's pretty fucking cheap. Say it's worth $100,000 fully fixed up. That means when the appraiser comes out and gets a value on it, then they're going to give you 70 to 80,000. That's all that means. So, the property I bought, it was very distressed. It needed a full renovation. I bought it for $85K plus closing costs. So we'll call it $90K. PP. Purchase price, closing costs. Alright, and I used a hard money loan, so I had to cover the closing costs out of pocket. And then I got a hard money loan for $135. I believe it was something like $135. And I was at 15% and 2 points, which isn't cheap. I actually held this thing for almost a year, which is expensive for hard money. So, all right. So then I put repairs into this puppy. You know, just keep in mind when you're doing a multi-unit property, we're talking about 2 kitchens, 2 baths, depending on how many baths you have. Mine was a 2-bed, 1 bath in each unit, so I had 2 kitchens, 2 baths, 2 sets of appliances, 2 AC units. So just keep in mind you're doubling, tripling, or 4 times in your shit. So my repairs was about $70K. And you're probably thinking, wait, you only got $135K loan, you're a little over. Yeah, I came out of pocket. So once I repaired this, I rented 1 unit for $12.25, and then that's me. I lived in the other unit briefly. Now I wasn't doing an FHA loan, so I didn't have to live there for a year. That's the benefit to doing harder private money. But depends what kind of loan you refinance into. I ended up going into a DSCR loan. So I always buy my properties under LLCs for the tax advantages and just for the liability of tenants, if something happened to them. All right, so a lot on this board. Try to put it off. So once I renovated it, I just wanted to break that down for you. Now we're talking about the refinance. So they came out, they appraised it, and it came at, it was $265. Alright, so I didn't do the full 70 to 80%. I believe you can do less than that, but what I ended up getting a loan for, so this was the value. New loan, I did $180K. Now I'm going to show you a couple of things at the end of this video. It's like, what, you can actually do that? Yeah, you can actually do that. Alright, so my new loan was $180K. So when that happened, paid off this hard money loan at the closing. And that left me with what? I had another set of closing costs. But at the end of the day, I walked away with about $25K tax-free in my pocket. But you see, I had some repair money in there out of my pocket, so I was essentially just getting that back. I could have got more on the loan, but I like my payment lower. So, we'll keep this moving. So my new guy was in there at $12.25. Monthly payment on the new mortgage, this $180, I was paying, I think it's like $13.25 I'm still paying per month. And then I have taxes and insurance separate, so that's another few grand a year. But as I was living there, I was essentially paying about $100 a month. You know, I was still paying my own utilities. The tenant was paying theirs. But living in a fully renovated 2-bed, 1-bath unit, you know, if I really wanted, I could have a friend pay me like, you know, $600-700 to live in one of the bedrooms. But I personally like living alone. So now I moved out of here. I'll erase me. See me. And then I rented my unit. My unit is currently renting for $1,250 because had some backsplash, bigger shower. So now this is 2,475. So now this puppy brings in about $1,100 a month. Gross. I'm just putting gross because I still have a few grand a month. So yeah, a few grand a month in taxes and insurance. So I mean, that's about $12K a month gross, and then probably $4 grand in taxes and insurance. So this property nets me somewhere around $8K a year. And then it's essentially netting me $8K a year, and the tenants are paying down the mortgage. So that mortgage is about $170 now. I bought this thing in 2021. So in 30 years from now, I'm going to have a completely paid off property worth, you know, appreciation goes up. It'll be worth at least $300. So this is essentially a 6-figure deal right now. I mean, my loan is $180. This thing is worth $270 now. Or my loan is now $170. This thing is worth $270. That's $100K in equity. Not to mention the tax advantages. This repair money, say I made $100K in a year, but I put $70K into this property. Again, this is not tax advice, but you would drop your profit from $100K on your taxes to $30K. So you're dropping your tax bracket. I don't know if this is always the case. If it works like this, because I'm a real estate professional, that means I spend most of my time doing real estate activities. I don't have other jobs. So might want to talk to your CPA about that. But this is how you house hack. You do a few of these a year. Or I mean, if you're doing the FHA, you can only do one a year. But if you do a few of these in your lifetime, live in them for a year, jump to the next, you're going to have this other tenant starting to pay. And years from now, you're going to have a changed life. Thing about these is if you decided to sell this property, you can do what's called a 1031 exchange. 1031 exchange. And instead of taking the profit on this and getting taxed on that, you can use that profit toward another property and not be taxed. Not to mention you had this $25K. The difference between these that I got tax-free, it's tax-free because it's built into this $180K. So you don't pay taxes on a loan because you're paying it back. So if you have questions, leave them in the comment section. I wanted to break this deal down, not to flex. I do this for a living. It's not a flex. I've been doing this for a while. I usually don't break down numbers, but this one I had to break down because you need to see this because it is fucking valuable and it can change your fucking life. So leave any questions you might have in the comments. Again, this is called house hacking. You can do this with up to 2 to 4 units. Anything above 4 units is considered commercial. You could still do it, but it's a completely different loan. Completely different structure, but yeah, a couple of these can change your damn life.